Ellen Degeneres is one of the most likable hosts on television, and it's largely due to the types of jokes that she makes. Almost every host is funny, but Ellen's style of comedy has a way of instantly endearing her guests to her.
Where will you raise the boy?
You are funny, Ellen.
So today we're going to talk about the most common types of jokes that Ellen makes, how you can use those jokes to get people to immediately like you, and some habits that you can work on to generally be funnier and more positive throughout your day. So let's start with the obvious, since Ellen is, at her core, a comedian, her jokes. Here's an example of a typical joke that Ellen might crack.
How new to you? When were you born? What year?
88.
88? 88.
Yes.
I have shoes that are like from 88. I still have a couple of vests that I wear from 88.
Now, we could talk about Ellen's style of understated humor and how that's different from someone like Jim Carrey, but what's most important here is to note that Ellen's jokes don't hurt anyone. So often, when the people in our lives crack jokes, the room laughs, but someone there feels crappy. That person is the butt of the joke. For an example of this, check out one of the few times that I saw Ellen actually make a joke at someone's expense.
And I have to say, one of the most amazing Liza Minnelli impersonators I have ever seen in my entire life. Just really, seriously. Good job, sir. I mean, that is really... Oh, that's...
You can tell by the grimace that Liza Minnelli doesn't feel particularly good about that joke. Now, luckily, Ellen doesn't crack that type of joke often, but it does serve as a good reminder. Consistently making jokes where there is a loser might make people laugh in the moment, but it's going to alienate someone. And if you do that often enough, you're going to alienate most everyone. And that's good to keep in mind, because that's how a lot of us are, especially with our friends. Let's look at what Ellen does instead. First off, she makes herself the butt of some of her jokes, often comparing herself unfavorably to her guests. This is classic self-deprecating humor, and it's what was going on in that first Rihanna clip.
I have shoes that are like from 88. I still have a couple of vests that I wear from 88.
And the same thing is going on here, where Ellen jokes about how similar she is to Malala. If you don't know who Malala is, she won the Nobel Peace Prize at age 17, making her the youngest recipient ever.
We want them to take action, we want them to do something, and it's important that you highlight it to them.
Yes, exactly. 18 years old. 18 years old. I was very similar to this.
An important side note is that when we're breaking down a joke, the literal words are less important than the subtext, because the subtext is often opposite to what someone is literally saying. That's what makes it a joke. For example, Ellen's words said that she is like Malala, but we all understand the subtext to be that Ellen was nothing like Malala at age 18. We also understand that to be a compliment. She's saying how mature and inspiring Malala is at only 18 years old. Here's another example of a different joke. See if you can identify the subtext here.
That's
like
lovely.
this really good feeling.
And getting a deep breath. That's the most important thing, too.
Especially when you have bronchitis like me right now.
Do you?
I was like, come on.
Yeah.
Let's have more fun with it.
There's no words to this joke, but the subtext might be something like, Jennifer is sick and I don't want her to touch me. Now, this joke is technically at Jennifer Lopez's expense. After all, not wanting her to touch you is in the subtext. But this particular joke is harmless. It's not going to alienate anybody because most people are not insecure about being sick. Why? Well, as a rule of thumb, people are unlikely to be insecure about things that are either temporary, common, or not core to their identity. They are likely to be more insecure about things that are permanent, uncommon, or core to their identity. So this joke works and doesn't upset anybody because even though J-Lo is the butt of it, it's not something that J-Lo is likely to get upset about. You can call this type of joke poking fun. So let's check out another joke with the same kind of structure, and again, see if you can identify the subtext.
Stay in school. I'm sure these people went to college. I mean, Amy Adams, you went to college, right? No? Okay, well, who cares?
The subtext of the first bit is that Amy didn't go to college, and again, this falls into the category of poking fun. It's something that she's unlikely to be insecure about because she is a wildly successful actress. Now, this is important. If she had not yet made it and was seriously doubting whether or not she had made the right choice to skip college, this joke might have stung. It might have upset her identity, and in that case, it would have been a bad idea. So context matters. There's also a second joke that Ellen cracks. The subtext of the second one was that Amy is nominated twice for an Oscar. That's actually a subtext that builds her up. Here that one is really quickly.
You're an amazing actress. You're not one, but 2 nominated films tonight you were in. That's just, that is so, what is the word for it? Selfish, I guess.
This is the gold standard of jokes that create instant likability. You can call them ego boosters because when you make people laugh while commenting on how successful, good-looking, kind, or likable they are, they will immediately like you and want to spend more time around you. So, reflecting back on a time that you recently made people laugh, ask yourself, what kinds of jokes were you making? Were they self-deprecating, poking fun, ego boosters, or were you making jokes that had a loser? It's important to know because the first 3 tend to improve relationships, while jokes that have losers can actually be damaging to those relationships. And if you're stumped, it's possible that your jokes fall into a category of jokes that are just silly. These are jokes that make people laugh simply because they're a surprise to them. For example, you might have a play on words like this one.
Amazing performance in 12 Years a Slave. She is from Kenya. She is a Kenyan. And Barkhad Abdi is here. He is nominated for Captain Phillips. He's from Somalia. He is a sommelier, so he knows a lot about wine, and that is impressive.
Or it could be just a random surprise, like walking up behind someone while they're rehearsing and making a bunch of noise.
That's probably what it's going to sound like. I'm going to go out and say exactly that now.
Or simply making something preposterous up, like Ellen does with Will Smith when she tells him that he has to finish hosting the Oscars for her.
They said that you...
I quit and you're taking over? You should finish it. Finish it for me.
Listen, Ellen had to leave.
We have opportunities to make these kind of silly jokes all day long, but I notice that very few people actually do. Most people move through life on a kind of literal autopilot, even though we usually all laugh when people are silly with us. So the big question is, if silly is so much fun, why is it so difficult for some people and so easy for others? Why do some people always give the boring, literal answer, while others have an easier time being playful? Ellen provides a few clues which you can incorporate into your own life, and these might seem random, but a lot of the goofy things that she does on her show prime her to be playful for the rest of the day. For instance, there's the mint toss at the beginning of her show where she chucks a mint in the air and tries to catch it.
It or not, and because you make it look crazy easy. It's insane. I've tried it before, and it is not as easy as you make it look.
No, and I don't even know why I started that. I just kind of love to have fun, and it's sometimes I think, why am I doing that? I walk out and throw a mint in the air, and it's sort of just a challenge for myself, just to kind of start in a playful mood.
Yeah.
There's the constant dancing, singing, and goofing off, which is something her show has become famous for. And of course, the games that she plays with her guests. It was actually Ellen and her team that made the Heads Up app, which was one of the most popular apps in the world for a while.
Mais c'est un petit pays
French, yes. Swedish. Yeah.
Obviously, Ellen has the support of a talk show and a team to make all of these games into a larger-than-life reality, but you can incorporate the lessons that Ellen gives into your own life, and those will help make you more playful on a day-to-day basis. First, find a simple ritual like the mint toss that makes you smile. Do it at the beginning of your day or prior to walking into any interaction. Second, move your body. You can literally dance. I've talked about this in tons of other videos, which I'm going to link to, but just trust me. The more expressive you are in your movements, the funnier and more positive you're going to be in your conversations. And then third, Find a way to bring actual games into your interactions. I admit, you cannot always do this in a professional environment, but in the social world, you can whip out the Heads Up app on your phone if you find a conversation turning boring. I know it might sound silly, but one round of that, and it is amazing how people brighten up and open up conversationally. The point is, make sure to prime yourself to be playful. It's because Ellen has created a lifestyle that makes her more fun and positive all the time that she makes a really incredible first impression. But of course, fun isn't the only piece you need. If you want to consistently make a great first impression, there are 4 emotions that you want to hit in order. Most people totally get the order wrong even if they do hit the emotions, which is why they don't always make a great first impression. If you're curious about those 4 emotions and more importantly what order you need to hit them in, go ahead now and click the screen. It's going to take you to another page where you drop your email and you can get access to a video that's going to show you those emotions and the order that you need to hit them in, so you can use it today. Also, if you haven't done so yet, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We make a new video every single week that's going to help you master some element of your charisma. This week, it was charismatic humor, but we've been known to cover everything from confidence to storytelling to leadership. So if you don't want to miss a video, go ahead and click the button to subscribe now. Any suggestions, leave those in the comments below. I'm compiling a long list now, and I go through it whenever I need a new video idea, which is basically every single week. So make sure to write down any topics or celebrities that you'd like to be covered. And of course, I hope that you have enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.